Stephen Walter Hugo is also an architect with Holt Associates.
The conversations that happen between IT departments and the conversations that happen between the users sometimes are entirely different conversations, and this happens not because of the process that we'd like to pursue, but maybe because of the way the university operates. Sometimes the IT departments end up designing the classroom because someone says, I want a room just like 602 from another building, and so they replicate that. But I think what we might say is that you really need to take it back to the user groups, find out what their intentions for the space are, and then overlay information technologies on top of their dreams and their aspirations for the space.
Now, as you might guess, not every institution has the same experience with introducing technology into the classroom. Make a mental note of what Michelle Pongsak says about mathematics. I'm sitting with Michelle Pongsak of Binghamton University, the State University of New York, Director of Special Planning Resources for Academic Affairs and Research Divisions in the Office of the Provost.
I mean, I think what we try to do is have the technology available, but not be oppressive. It can be difficult because most of our classrooms we have a fixed lectern where all the AV equipment is, and so that can become a problem because the room then has a fixed front, and that's where the instructor usually stands. And it can be also difficult in smaller spaces because it ends up then taking up a lot of the space. You may have your largest stock of classrooms that are basically set up one way, but it's always good to have some spaces where you can do some things in a more experimental way. We've got most of our classrooms set up. Right now, we've still got most of our classrooms with tablet armchairs, but we've got one room on campus, a collaboratory, where it's these portable, soft, comfortable chairs, and a tablet arm flips up, and they have a laptop cart in the room that the students can then go in and use, and they can project what's on their laptop onto the screen. So you wouldn't want to set every classroom up like that, but it's good to have one or two of these spaces that people can go in and experiment with. A lot of times what we get into when we start looking at the sciences is needing dedicated space for a particular class, for a particular course. And from a planner's point of view, that's really poor utilization because you may be using that classroom for 6 hours a week, and then the rest of the time that space remains idle. So this notion of flexibility and the ability to move equipment and different scientific apparatus around within the space so that the instrumentation can be there and available for a particular class, but then can be moved out and new equipment can be moved in so that more courses can utilize the space.
What has been your particular experience working with math faculty?
The math faculty really, at our campus at least, are happy to have the rooms without technology. They want the rooms with as many blackboards as possible. If it doesn't have the blackboards, they don't want it. If it has the technology but not the blackboards, they don't want it. They want the blackboards.
You know what I love about the academic world? The job titles. Take Jerry Gabriel, for example, Cornell University, Engineering Communications. What?
Engineering Communications is basically engineering students of all sorts, mechanical, operations research, computer scientists. They get degrees in engineering and they go and they do projects related to whatever their field is. Integral into their success in those projects is the ability to communicate. I'm a very big believer in collaborative learning, so I stress the room's ability to kind of break apart and have people work together in teams. And I think that this works in many fields. I think it works very well in writing classes where you can be working on a project. It could be a team project, it could be an individual project, but you have a cohort of people that you are helping, and that you are learning from. When I talked in the presentation, I was talking about the seminar room where there is a sort of free give and take discussion, and I think that that's a valuable part of a writing classroom as well. So I see in my own classrooms, I see two sort of main formats. One is the sort of class-wide discussion, and the other is the breaking up and having people work off in groups. Basically big enough that you can fit 12 to 15 people around it, including the instructor. And you know, the idea is that, as I was saying, that the classroom is decentered, that the professor or the instructor isn't standing in front of the classroom imparting their knowledge, that everybody is sort of making meaning together. So the professor's job is to really direct the discussion, to promote inquiry, to promote the kinds of questions that get the ball rolling, that get the students kind of making meaning for themselves. And so it's a very active learning environment versus, you know, the old style of lecture where you stand up and you tell them about the themes in King Lear. You have them derive them in, you know, whether it's 12 people across a table or it's in groups of 3, either way. That population is, they don't have, they don't have some of the sort of attributes of the more quote unquote successful incoming student. So particularly the community building aspects of the classrooms, the things I've been talking to you about, really help bolster their confidence. They've been, you know, placed at this level and they're not really sure what that means, and so they seem invested.